Standard operating procedures, or SOPs, might be one of the boringest things you can think of. But after you listen to this episode, you're going to find that it's really very simple and it's crucial to the success of your business. Stay tuned, keep listening, and you'll find out more. All right, I'm Joe Sova. This is the Joe Sova Business Show. Thanks for being here. Glad you are with us. The fact that you're here means you are likely an entrepreneur and you're likely driven to success. You probably have goals and dreams and all kinds of fun, amazing things you want to do with your business, the impact you make in the world, with your family, with your income, and all those around you. Am I right? So if that's you, you're in the right place. And today we're going to cover one of these things that a lot of entrepreneurs dread, right? When they hear the term SOP, standard operating procedure, and they run for the hills. Right? Hey, I'm too busy for that stuff, right? I'm the visionary of my company. I want nothing to do with writing stuff down and formatting PDFs and making a big old manual, right? Some huge book, textbook like thing. It makes them just their skin crawl if you're like many entrepreneurs I know, including myself. Believe me, I've been there. Okay. I've been caught in that routine of, hey, I know how things are done. I can do it in my sleep. I don't need to write down an SOP, a standard operating procedure, right? What is that anyway? Right. Do I even need it? Is it really going to work for me? Many entrepreneurs think that if you're like most, you're in the same boat, right? Or you're so busy. Here's another one. Love this one. I'm so busy. I'm doing all the things in my business. I'm making it go. I'm finding my customers. I don't have time for that. I'll get to that later, right? Yeah, I'm sure. Tell me when you get to it later, because as you know, later never comes. I was about to say rarely, but it really never comes. There's always something else, right? That endless treadmill, that to-do list, right? If you're somebody whose to-do list keeps adding things on, you've had stuff on your to-do list for more than 48 hours, you're somebody that needs SOPs. This will help you out, right? If you're somebody who is getting mixed results on outcomes, right? You need a standard operating procedure. It could be a standard outcome procedure, is another way to put that. I'm going to coin that. I just made that up now. I'm sure somebody else has said that, but I'll take credit for that. A standard outcome procedure, because you want repeatable outcomes. That's what this is all about. Is if you can get customers to have the same experience, customer A and customer B and customer Z have the same experience, of course, you're going to blow them away with that experience, right? Because what you do is the best out there for them. You make a difference in the world. When you can get that same experience multiple times, that's when the magic happens. That's when that growth exponentially happens and you can sustain that growth. That's what you may or may not realize yet, is that in entrepreneur land, we talk about the big vision. And believe me, I'm a visionary. I get it, right? We've got all these ideas, the goals, the dreams, the cars, the houses, right? The beach, whatever it may be, maybe the mountains, whatever you gravitate towards. Maybe it's sitting on your couch. I don't know. But anyways, you've got the dreams, you've got the goals. We often forget the structure underneath those goals. And when we do that, when we forget about these standard outcome procedures, that's when we're running a risk with our business, right? It's like saying you'd rather be in business for the short term than for the long term, right? It's like saying you're not interested in really sustaining your growth, right? Yeah, I'll hockey stick my growth and then explode, right? It shoots up and then it's like a bottle rocket on the 4th of July, right? It fires off in the air and then it just explodes. It crumbles to the ground very shortly after, right? You might even get stuck and plateaued at a certain level, and you've got this whirlwind of business swarming around you, right? You're getting customers, you're getting things in, and good things are happening in your business, but there's no end in sight from the rising tide, right? The water level keeps getting higher and higher on the structure side, the operation side, standard operating procedures. Am I right? So it boils down to this, and sit with this. I'm gonna slow down in this part. Maybe reduce it to half speed if you're listening on a podcast or something, because this is critical to understand. And when you get this, it will be a game changer for you. All right. But when you say standard operating or standard outcome procedures aren't for you or aren't needed for you, what you're really saying is that you're not committed to the long term success of your business. I'll say it again. What you're really saying is that you're not committed to the long term sustainable success of your business. You're saying your goals don't matter. You're saying your business isn't important. You're saying you'd rather take the easy way, but we all know that the easy way turns into the incredibly cringe-worthy, difficult, draining, devastating way as you grow more and more and more and don't have that structure to hold it, right? It's a house of cards, the oldest cliche in the book, which I just used a cliche to describe a cliche. Anyways, it's the oldest phrase out there, right? House of cards. It'll crumble if the structure isn't there to sustain the higher levels. You want to get to a higher level in your business, don't you? Right? Because when you don't have standard outcomes, things get missed. Customers get upset. You forget things. Believe it or not, as much of a superman or superwoman as you might believe you are, and you are as that entrepreneur hero, things will get missed, right? You can't do everything. You can't remember everything, and your to-do list gets longer and longer and longer. And yet, if you don't have a way to sustain that success, you're setting yourself up for failure later, right? So the standard thing to do, standard operating procedure, but the standard thing in entrepreneurship land is to go generate revenue, sell, sell, sell. And yes, believe me, I teach sales in certain areas, and I've done selling for a long, long time, and that is critical, right? Without selling something, you don't have a business. It doesn't matter how good your structure is if you don't sell something. But here's what tends to happen, and you may relate to this, but you sell, 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 and you start getting revenue, revenue, revenue. But those results that the new customers are experiencing are different than the prior customers, right? And you're finding things get messy and sloppy, and your dream business quickly is becoming a nightmare. Now you're working on fixing things after the fact. You're doing these little tasks in customer support. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Customer. Let's help you out with this, or Mrs. Customer. Yeah, that shouldn't have happened. Let me make it up to you, right? And you're drowning in the details, or maybe your team, if you have one, is drowning in the details. So, what a documented procedure does, right? What a standard outcome procedure does is help you get that repeatable outcome one time after another. And this can be written, it can be on video, it can be audio, whatever. You can mime it for somebody. It doesn't matter, right? As long as there is a repeatable outcome and a process to follow, that's what matters, right? You want repeatable results. I'll say it again. I said this earlier, but just I'm going to repeat this, right? Speaking of repeatable results, I'm going to repeat this. But when customer A and customer B and customer Z all have the same experience, now you're cooking with gasoline, right? Now you can sustain that growth because they all have the same magical experience, and they tell people about that, and they tell people, right? And they all, it's like compound interest in your bank account, right? When A happens, the result is B. And that's what you want in your business. Then you can go sell more and bring on more customers and grow to whatever your dream and your goals may be. Now, that all probably logically makes sense. And I know what's going on in your head now. You're saying, yeah, that won't work for me, right? There's a couple reasons. My business is different. I'm that shiny, unique unicorn out there. This won't work for me. Well, let me break that down for you. Um, Everybody can likely put together a Lego, right? I've got a couple young kids that are 8 years old. We've got twin boys that love Legos, right? And guess what? My 8-year-old kids can follow the Lego manual step by step by step. In your business, when you put step by step by step, you're doing yourself and your team a favor because it's not guesswork. It's not whoever thinks it should be done one way or another way and inconsistent, right? It's step by step by step. If you give that same Lego, think of this. If you didn't have the instruction manual on the Legos and you just gave the pieces out there, and you had 100 kids, you'd get 100 different things built, right? Even if you show them a picture, right? You could show them the box of that Legos, and if they're looking at it without that instruction manual, some might get closer than others. Nobody's going to nail it 100%. I can guarantee you that, right? Or maybe 1 out of 100. I don't know. But the odds are you're going to get 100 different looking creations. Pieces are going to get missed. Pieces aren't even going to be used. They might bring in their own pieces. I've seen this happen. So for those of you who think it won't work for you, understand that if it can work for 8-year-olds, it can work for your business, right? And your business is one of millions and millions in the world. And the most successful businesses, as you know, have these things in place. They're already there. So within your business, are you saying that you're so unique and so different and so innovative that something as simple as a standard outcome procedure won't work for you? I think you already realize how powerful this can be when you implement it in any business. All right. So it's not a matter of it won't work. It's a matter of, do you want to grow? Do you want to sustain that growth? Do you want to have a foundation on your growth and implement the standard outcome procedures? All right. Now, here's what won't work. All right. Some of you might be thinking, SOPs won't work for me, but here's what won't work. We already know they will work for you, but here's what won't work is expecting to grow without building a team. Now, you've got vision, you have goals, right? The fact that you're here means that you want to improve your business. There's something about your business that you're striving for, something more that is out there. And if you're expecting to grow without building a team, that's like trying to play the baseball game with one player, right? You need 9 positions out there in order to get everything done, right? You personally, as the entrepreneur, as the founder, as the CEO, whatever you might call yourself, you can only take on so much. That's a fact. It's a physical limitation, right? If I put bricks in your hand, you can only carry so much. The same as with your business. You can only carry so much yourself. So if you want to grow, you need to build a team. And when you build a team, you've got to have procedures for those team members to follow. One, it tells them that you're serious about business. You're not a fly by night. You're not closing up shop in a month. You want to attract talent? You want to attract A players? Show them that you're serious. And one of those ways is having procedures in place. All right. Now, when you look at a team, everybody's going to see something different, right? When you follow a procedure, it doesn't matter if that person sees something different. You got step by step by step to get those consistent results. Think of those blot paintings, right? Those ink blots. Everybody sees something different, right? You see a lobster, I see the King of England, whatever it is, right? Like we see different things. We're looking at the same picture. Somebody, you might explain something. Hey, this is how this needs to be done. This customer has to be serviced this way. They're interpreting that very, very differently, right? There's different expectations of what quality is, of what soon means, right? I need this done soon, right? We got to do this as soon as possible. ASAP. Well, ASAP means an hour to you. It might mean a day or a week to somebody else, unless you spell that out. And that's what this is all about, is setting those expectations, eliminating the interpretation differences, right? It's not stifling creativity. You still can leave some room for that. And that's a whole nother concept. and we can talk about that if you want to send me a direct message or something like that. But as far as having those repeatable outcomes, be very clear with those SOPs, those standard outcome procedures, right? And that's when the customers begin to rave about the experience, right? You want multiple new customers coming in. You want that repeat experience. You will get repeat customers. It's that simple. The more you automate things, the more you systematize things, the more structure you build, the more freedom you have in your business because it starts to run itself. And that's probably why you started your business in the first place, was freedom. Am I right? Income, impact, freedom, your family, your location, financial, whatever it may be. Funny thing is, a lot of people think, well, that structure is going to stifle me down. It's going to keep me from doing what I want to do. When in fact, not having the structure is what's keeping you from doing what you want to do. It's keeping you from getting to that next level. Again, you cannot sustain that growth you want without the structure underneath it. You can't build a skyscraper without the foundation. It doesn't work. Am I right? Let that sink in a little bit. Now, you may not know yet how much using a simple standard outcome procedure will help your business until you start to use one, right? And it's really simple. And you might be thinking still at this point, you know what? You make good points, Joe. This all makes sense, but it sounds awful. I don't want to type a PDF. That's not, and listen, I've talked about using your time valuably, right? Like using your time as the entrepreneur, as the visionary in your zone of genius. And that is likely not making a PDF of how to, send out emails or something like that, right? I agree, right? It does sound awful. I don't like making them. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it has to be done. I'm not going to tell you that your business won't survive without it, right? We've talked enough about that. But what I will do, I wasn't going to do this in this episode. I was going to direct to another. But you know what? I've been known, people tell me that when they work with me, I over deliver. So I'm going to do it here as well. All right. We're going to do a little bonus. This is unplanned, but I'll give a bonus as to how to make this very, very simple and how you can implement this in your business right now because you're already doing it, whether you realize it or not. Roles exist. These procedures exist. They may not be written down and documented. And that's all we have to do. We have to capture it. We have to document it. And there's different ways to do that. All right. So here's the bonus on this episode. I was going to wrap up there, but let's keep going because you will find value here. So stick with me just a couple more minutes. But to create these standard outcome procedures, it's really, really simple because you're already doing things in your business. You're already sending out your mass emails or posting on your social media or doing all those little things, sweeping the floor if you have a physical office, right? You're doing these things already. And so you don't have to sit down and write a PDF on how to do all of that, but you do need the procedures for somebody else to follow. So where's the disconnect? How can you reconcile that, right? I need it, but I don't want to do it. So here's what you do. You do it anyway, right? And when you're doing these tasks, when you're doing these little things that you can hand off to somebody else, capture it, record it, right? We have technology, we have phones, right? Record yourself doing something. We have software on computers. There's various software options out there that will do screen capture. Record yourself doing what you're doing. You're already doing it. It's not taking you any more time to hit the record button and do it. And guess what you do then? You hand it over to somebody else and you let them create the written document, right? Or maybe that video is enough for them. Now, that's the high level stuff, right? So just record what you're already doing, capture what you're already doing, hand it off to your team. And if you don't have a team yet, that's fine. Keep listening and we'll be able to help you with that. But you'll have these for when you do, right? When you continue to grow and hire somebody, you have this library of how to do things. And again, back to showing somebody that you're serious about business when you hire somebody for the first time. That's a great way to do it. Listen, I've got these templates that you follow. This is your first task is to create the PDFs for these, and then you can hire more staff. So that's the bonus here. That's the quick tutorial. And again, there's ways to make this a little more advanced. I'm not going to get it that deep in this episode. That's something that I teach my clients, and so you can reach out if you'd like, and I can get you more information on that. But the reason I'm covering this here is because it will help. It will serve. You're already doing the task. You're already doing the stuff. Simply document what you're doing by capturing yourself. Use technology. I talk about delegate, eliminate, and automate, DEA, right? This is part of that. This is part of automating. Simply use technology, use software to capture what you're already doing and hand that off to somebody else and let them create the written document and fill in the gaps, right? Then you can watch them as they perform those tasks. Did you miss a step somewhere? Are they missing a step? And you refine that as you go. So that's the easy way to create a standard outcome procedure without having to do all the terrible PDF formatting and all that stuff that you don't want to do as the entrepreneur, visionary, and driven leader. All right. So at this point, it's obvious you're starting to realize you need structure in order to support the growth of your dream business. That's clear, isn't it? So in order to do that, start implementing these things. Subscribe to this podcast. You'll get more information like this. And check out my links. All right. I've got tons of free resources that will help you. Go to my website, joesilvatraining.com, here to support you and help you from now until you reach your dreams in business. All right. Catch you on the next episode. Thank you.